Hello and welcome back to World Traveler Cooking, where we cover interesting cuisines and interesting foods from around the world. Today we're going to attempt to make a proper Swedish Julskinka, except for the fact that I can't find a proper Swedish Jule ham to make it out of. Julskinka means Yule ham, and the ones in Sweden are sold like this in the wet and plastic, but they are also netted, and they are typically have a layer of fat around the outside. So this will be a little bit of a problem. We'll still do our best. Our other ingredients will include some cornstarch, although again I'm substituting potato starch today. An egg. We will have some mustard, a little bit of sugar, about a tablespoon or so, to about 1 part sugar to about 4 parts mustard, and then of course some breadcrumbs. So this takes several hours to make, so plan ahead. My first step is I'm going to cut the plastic off of this, and if there's a skin on this ham, I'll remove that. Then I'm going to bake it in the oven, covered, at a relatively low temperature, so like 140 Celsius or so, for a couple of hours until it reaches a reasonable temperature inside. And then we'll glaze it, cover it with breadcrumbs, and bake it at a high heat. So that's the plan. Let's see how well this works. Let's get started. So unfortunately this ham is a composite pressed meat ham. It's really not ideal for this, but it's what I can get here, unfortunately. So it's what we're going to have to use. So we'll just keep trying this and see how it comes out. So in Sweden, most of the hams come, many of these times the hams will come with a special cooking bag. Since I don't have that, I'm just going to take a nice bowl from IKEA. This will have to do, I guess. I think I'm going to put some ice cubes on the tray to make sure that I generate some steam. And this will then go in the oven for about 2 hours. I also decided to put some baking paper on to just reduce the water loss, because we don't want this to be dry heat, we want this to be wet heat. So, sorry for the background noise. There is construction happening out back. This is looking like something I can use. I did end up having to add some liquid and covering the top to get it to steam a bit. So we're going to pour this liquid off. We're going to let this cool. We're going to let this rest for maybe about 5 minutes while I get the glaze ready. Into a small bowl goes 4 spoonfuls of mustard. And I'm using a Dijon today, but use whatever you like. Probably not like a French's American mustard, but other than that, crack our egg, and I'm just going to add 2 teaspoons, maybe just 1 teaspoon, I think. 1.5 teaspoons of sugar, and then we're just going to mix all this together. And this will be our glaze. That's looking pretty good. Next, I'm going to pour the liquid off that I was braising the ham in. And let's glaze this and get ready to grill it. So, first step is to dust with starch. This will help give the glaze something to hold on to. And I'm going to do this all the way around, even though I'm not always glazing the bottom. In fact, maybe the fact that the bottom is a little more moist might make it the best side to have up. Let's see. So you could, I suppose, use a brush, but I'm just going to use a fork. And I'm just going to slather this mustard on. Making sure I get the ends very nicely. And I must say, the fact that this is not the right kind of ham is becoming pretty relevant at this point. So let's just hope this works pretty well. I'm going to try to make sure we have a nice coating of breadcrumbs. And I'm just going to roll the other side off. I know that normally the bottom side of the ham would not be breaded, but I guess this is what we're going to have to do. I'm just going to bump the breaded stuff on where I can, and now this will go back in at 250 for like 15 to 20 minutes. So let's go ahead and stabilize and cut a few small slices off. Again, not quite right because the ham isn't quite the right kind, but we'll just have to deal with what we can. One of the curses of living in different places is the limitations with what you can get. So let's do a taste test with this, and then yeah, let's just do a taste test. And now for the taste test. So part of the problem with getting a ham in the tropics is it's never going to have as much fat on it. When you get these sorts of composite meat hams, it's sort of doubly the case. This is not as fatty as I'd like, not as rich as I'd like, but the flavor profile is good. And if you can find like a nice ham with a good amount of fat on it, this approach will probably work really well. But for this kind of ham, it still comes out tasty. It's just not exactly Yule ham. So if you like this content and you'd like to see more of it, please like, share, and subscribe. If you have anything to say about this video, any advice for anybody else making this sort of dish, please let me know in the comments. At any rate, recipes in the description. Bon appetit. See you next week.